Shalom, shalom. Kal halalim la benoa Yahweh, ala hayanoa ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai ba Hashem, Rokah HaKodash. Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Hawashai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Hawashai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Hawashai. Double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops of Great Millstone, and shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,000, wherever you're scattered to the four corners of the earth. All right. I'm not going to play this, but I'm going to say fair use, copyright 1976 anyway. This is a show that's, a well-known sort of morning staple for a lot of Brits here in the UK. Okay. Now, this is focused on a lot of Judites. We always say, because they focused on the term Black American. So there are a lot of Judites here in the UK, a lot of war babies. And this is part of the scattering. And now, this is not just right now, the tribe of Judah is here right now because of the World War II. Okay. We were here during the Dark Ages. Okay. All the artifacts, historic artifacts, right, as well as well-known historians, okay, as well as all, for example, the Russian icons, okay, and so-called Dark Ages, is when the so-called black man, okay, the Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the so-called Negroes, okay, who would be today, Judah would be the so-called Black Americans, Benjamin would be the West Indians, Levi would be the Haitians, okay. All right. We were here during the Dark Ages. We took over we ruled Europe, put it that way, okay? We are everywhere. We are the largest race on the planet Earth, regardless of what you look like. A lot of black men, all right? Not Africans, not Hamites. We're not talking about you Somalians and you other natural Africans, all right? You Hamitic people. We're talking about the Shemitic Israelites. Okay, the Shemitic lineage, because everyone that's dark brown or with curly, kinky hair are not the same people. All right, but this is not about outward expression. This is not about how you look. It's about your bloodline, your lineage. As you can see, the man on the right-hand side there could pass for a Latino, could pass for a Sicilian, could pass for a Greek, could pass for whatever. Because the world is pretty much predominantly brown. But all skin folk ain't kinfolk. But this is a brother. All right. As you can see on the left, that's his mother. All right. And a lot of American GIs, I believe the figure was 280,000 so-called Black Americans, probably more than that, 500,000 or so. It's quite a very large number. And the UK is a very small island. You can fit the UK into Texas 5 times. Came to the UK, and a lot of these so-called white women, right? They could be Jake. Some of them could be Jake themselves. Some of them could be Irish girls, whatever, or even English girls, because remember our seed, there's a confusion of faces today. So a lot of our people wouldn't have the original look, the royal look of the brown skin and the curly hair, or whatever, the wavy hair, So a lot of our people look different today because they've taken on the looks of their mother or whatever, the looks of their mother. But you are whatever your father is from the nutsack you come from, regardless of how you look. Okay. And but I'm just going to focus on World War II. And this is just another example of the scattering. All right. Okay. And, so what we have here is a lot of Edom. Let's just say a lot of so-called white women, Edomite women, who the world would call Caucasian women, right, had relations with a lot of Black Americans. Now, some of these brothers could have been Judites, some of them could be Reubenites or Gadites. They could be Native Indians too, all right, because we do look alike, but we're also very diverse looking as well within the 12 tribes, all right? And the Northern Kingdom are the Latinos and Native Indians, all right, as well, okay? But these brothers were Judites, and I'm sure a lot of Latinos came here during the World War II as well, but they just focused on Black Americans. And a lot of children were left behind. So when those American GIs left the UK, right, there was a population explosion. And as you can see on the left, that's the Jake who's older now, who grew up in the UK, facing, racism and certain things, and you know, the fact that he didn't know why he had a connection to America when he was a child. He had a spiritual connection to America, but then he later on found out that his father's from America. You know, he knows that his kinfolk are from there. And obviously this is just another example of the scattering and also the confusion of faces. Now, for example, this brother today, I don't know, he grew up around Edomites, and he said where he grew up in a town full of Edomites, there's probably about maybe 16 other Israelite children, that were, from Jake daddies and Edomite mothers. All right. And he said he didn't have many friends growing up, and his best friend was another Jake, um, who was who's from the loins of another Jake man, and the Edomite mother. So now this Jake, had children with an Edomite woman, right? How do you think the children would look? Some of that would come out probably straight out so-called white looking now, but they're still Israelites, all right? And how much more our line going back, right? From the Dark Ages, from the times of King Solomon. King Solomon who's a so-called black man, right? A Judite, had uh, a thousand wives. He had 700 Israelite wives and 300 concubines, and those concubines were Edomite women, so-called white women. There were Ammonite women, so-called Japanese women, and etc., etc., etc. All right. Don't you think that line still carries on today? Right. And then on top of that, that's just King Solomon. And then what about all the other Israelite men from all from the times that were through rulerships, the Dark Ages when we ruled Europe, through all our captivities in different parts of the world, obviously including America. All right, we've been in captivity several times under the East Indians, under the Hamites, under the Greeks, under the Romans, under the Babylonians. So our seed is everywhere, because when we were in slavery, we had children with different races of women. But our seed is there. Wherever you see greatness in the world, and if you see that really uniqueness, if you see if you see a guy moving like Michael J. White, and he looks like a white guy and he's Russian, that guy is more than likely a Judite. All right, because remember, we were in Russia as well, ruling. When you see the Russian icons, when you go to their churches and the statues that they pray to and all that, right, and all the artifacts they have, they all look like so-called black men. All right. That's why you see a lot of Russian women gravitating towards so-called black men, because a lot of those Russian women are super fine ones. That's probably another reason why Russian women are so fine, because a lot of them are probably, Israelite women, because the Lord is keeps a little bit of that beauty, even though you may have leprosy, you look so-called white on the outside, but still keeps you very attractive on the outside, facially and features-wise. And some of these Russian women, are Israelites. But then on the flip side, some of them are Edomites, because we're going to need concubines too. So we ruled Russia. And what about the Sicilians and Italians? Okay, they brought that out. What does Dago and Swamp Guinea mean? Swamp Guinea basically means you are of so-called African heritage or African line. That's why they called Dago and Swamp Guinea, the Italians. And aren't Sicilian women fine? Aren't Italian women fine overall? All right. And look, even if you're pale with blonde hair, blue eyes or whatever from northern Italy, there's still Jake up there. You know what I mean? You're telling me Frank Sinatra wasn't a Jake? Dean Martin wasn't a Jake? They're Jakes. If you look at the Rat, was it the Rat Pack they're called? Frank, Dean Martin, and who else? Sammy Davis Jr. That's 3 Jakes, 3 Judites, 2 Italians and 1 Judite. No, and 1 Judite with the original look. That's why that's why they got the guys was, were fire on stage, But a lot of people will see that, there's 2 white guys and a black guy, Like I said, wherever you see that sort of that uniqueness, that really sort of salt, that flavor, that really that pizzazz, right? And we're not talking about some cracker trying to copy Jake's style, or some heathen trying to copy Jake's style, or some Elamite dothead trying to, dress like Jake or act like Jake. We're talking about Even if they look like a heathen and they really move like a Jake, they're really unique. That's a Jake because we are everywhere. All right. Now you guys can check this video out yourself. I'm not going to play it. How long is when is this video from? By the way, let me check it out. So it's on This Morning. Britain's secret war babies. After 77 years, I finally know who my father is. All right. There's also another one as well. All right. Here's a woman. I'm going to show a picture of her. This is when she was young. All right. And I can only imagine how attractive she was when she was a younger woman in her 20s. All right. And this is an example of GIs, at the dance-offs and, the dances it had during World War II. And obviously Edomite women were besotted with Jake. And here she is when she's an older woman, of course. Now she's got the features. We've got a lot of Sicilian and Italian women that look like that with features like that. A lot of Latino women too, right? But then again, this woman is more than likely a Judite. As you can see, she's got the blue eyes. She's light skinned. She's got the curly, kinky hair. I don't know who she married. I mean, if she married an Edomite, then the children are still they're heathens, even if they might have that sort of, as they say, a Negro-esque look. This is just another example of Israelite foreigners that are scared. Yeah, she's obviously an older woman here now. Obviously, as you get old, you lose that. So you lose, you lose how you look. I'm just saying, as a younger woman, she must have been a nice looking lady. That's her as a baby, right? And that's Jake interviewing her. Oh God, I don't want to play it. So check it out yourself. This is a Channel 4 documentary. Yeah, this is from 2022 as well. There we go, another one. BBC helping brown babies of World War II find their fathers. So now people are everywhere. So, and I've always noticed that, especially here in the UK, you've got a lot of chatty white women, that are really lively, have got a lot of, they're real lively. They must be like 78 years old and they'll have a little chat with you. I remember in the 90s, I'd be in the queue waiting to pay for some goods in the supermarket or whatever, and there'd be a white woman there that'd be cool as F, And at that time, I didn't like crackers. I never liked crackers, right? And I just saw some white woman in it or whatever, some Edomite, But then obviously, then you think about it years later when you come into the truth and you think, damn, man, that woman was probably a Jake, Because she was so lively and so cool, what I mean? There wasn't no racism coming out of her mouth or whatever. She was just cool. So you got a lot of Jakes, man. You got a lot of cool ass Jakes that look like white motherfuckers too, But they're obviously of that royal lineage. But obviously, remember one thing: a lot of you Jakes get hung up on this look thing. I understand, I get it. It's a heathen look, but what do you have to understand is, all right, they're still their father's children. They're still Israelites. Okay, a lot of you Jakes out there that have had children with white women, and you were blessed to have your children looking like you, and didn't really look like their mother. That's cool. But there's a lot of Jakes out there that have children with white women or women of other nations, and the children look exactly like their mother. Are you going to deny your own children? They're still you. Sometimes that happens too, and the Lord has done that to hide a lot of Israelites, a lot of elect members too. And also, the Lord has done that to create a stumbling block for a lot of you wicked Israelites that are so carnal. You don't go pursuing to Romans 8:16. All right. Okay. The Lord has created a stumbling block. And also, the Lord has done that to hide a lot of Israelites that look like heathens, to awaken the spiritual aspect of the elect, because the elect are very spiritual. The elect are going to say, okay, yeah, that's a Jake. That's a Jake. Oh, geez, that's a that's a so-called, that's one of our women. Romans 8:16, King James Version. All right. Romans 8:16, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right. And also, there's another place, slave port, all right, where, where those corny Beatles come from. I never liked the Beatles, To me, they're corny. I don't know what the big hoopla about the Beatles is, They had no soul, but I guess, me personally, I never liked them. Okay, but nevertheless, Liverpool was the most important European port for the transatlantic slave trade and was the main slaving port for Britain in the 18th century. Now, I've mentioned various rule ships have been in. There's also trade, business. Jake moves to different parts of the world and settles there, marries the local women. All right. You've got war, and then also the rulerships we've had, the Dark Ages, conquering different parts of Europe and different parts of the world. We left our seed there, left our footprint there. All right, left our notoriety there, left all our innovations across the world, namely America. This world is great only because of the Israelites. The only reason why it's wicked is because of so-called white man, or the Edomites and the heathens. All right. Um, the world needs us. We don't need the so-called white man. We don't. They need us. All right. Okay. They need our innovation and our salt and our flavor and how we create and make things amazing, and then they can put their face on it and say, "Oh yeah, we created it." They need us. We don't need them damn devils. All right. And also Liverpool it was a major slave port. And if you go to Liverpool, you've got a lot of light skinned, tan, teas and tan, so called black people up there as well. A lot of Israelites. All right. And they've married a whole lot of white women. So you've got a lot of Jake up there. And you've got a lot of Jake that look like white guys too. You would think that's a white boy, you know? But then he moves and acts like a Jake, So that this has been happening from, for thousands of years. But what I'm touching on is the recent information that's coming out regarding World War II babies. It's just an example. Wherever Jake goes, wherever you send Israelite men, all right, especially when they don't have their wives with them, right, they are going to leave their footprint behind. And they blatantly left their footprint. They left their children behind. It's unfortunate for the children because they're Israelite babies, but it's just another example of our scattering. And from there, those Israelite men that left their children here, right? How many of them those Israelite children, especially the men, had children with other so-called white women? They're growing up in white towns. Who do you think they're going to bump into? They're not going to bump into, um, you know, uh, they're going to bump into a lot of white girls, aren't they? So obviously they're going to grow up around white girls and they're going to deal with white women, have more children, so forth and so on. So this is how our seed gets spread. It's like a snowball effect. It starts so small, like the size of a pebble. You roll it down a hill, it gets bigger, bigger, and bigger. All right. Let's go to scripture. Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. We are like the largest nation on the planet Earth. All right. You speak to a Latin brother, a Mexican Jake. You know, especially those that are in Mexico or Latin America, or your average Jake. They got average Jake has at least two children. Some have three. All right. Most, especially Latino Jakes, especially the ones that aren't, live on ranches or, that have that real traditional household where their woman stays home and they go out and they're construction workers, or whatever. Some of them have like 6 to 8 children. Some have 9 children. Some have 10 children. You know, all right. Then we come to Egypt as 70 souls before our first Exodus. And when we a large nation when we left during our first Exodus. That's just an example there. We multiply. Okay. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. All right. So all these crackers that have put you down and done this, down the third to you, they're going to find out when you're being beamed up into the chariots. These are the children of Israel. All right, the ones that are chosen, of course, on this side. All right. Numbers 1:18. They assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. This is the reason why women take on the man's last name, because there is no such thing as mixed. It doesn't matter how you look on the outside either. Color does not denote ethnicity. Israelites come in naturally many shades anyway, naturally, without having a heathen mother. All right, all right. And you are whatever your mother is. All right. Sorry, Salaki, that was Satan there. You are whatever your father is. All right. So that was Satan there, boy. Yeah, that was Satan there. All right. So you are whatever your father is. Okay. I just mind blank for a second and I said that the adverse thing, man. Shit. Salakia for that. You are whatever your father is. Hence the reason why the woman takes on the man's last name. All right? There's no such thing as mixed, 50-50 and all that shit. You are whatever your father is. Okay? Okay, that's when in the scriptures, in the Bible, it's like so and so begot so and so, so and so begot so and so, so and so begot so and so. When they talk about lineage or family tree, it's the men. The women don't count. The women don't bring nothing to the table except they are an incubator for the child to grow within inside the womb. Yeah, they may take on the mother's features. That's cool. But the seed line, all right, is from the man's nutsack. Okay? And that's whatever you are, according to the nutsack you come from. All right? And this is another reason, right? Because we're such a large, numerous nation, these damn devils like to do what you call census reports. All right, they like to find out. Okay, I'm so-called black, I'm so-called Latino, I'm West Indian or whatever, you know. And also, a lot of these Edomites are they like to keep records of everything. They're great bookkeepers. They like to keep records and information on everything, and guarantee they got it. They know where the Israelite foreigners are as well. Yes, they do. Sometimes they can't tell. That's why the Lord has hid us. Give some Jakes have got the complexion for the protection on this side in this rulership. Some do look white, you know. Some do look like other nations. All right. But for the most part, even if you look like another nation, Esau still knows, you know, oh yeah, that's the possibly an Israelite. Let's put hell on them. You know, like the way the Italians were lynched when they came to America. You know, there was a movie with Christopher Walken. I think it was in the 90s, early 2000s, and there was something about him, something about Italians coming into the South, a lot of Sicilians, and they were being lynched too. You know, because they were dark complected or whatever, and they didn't like them. And then the Edomites knew spiritually that these people are not so-called white. You know, let me see if I can find the movie, man. Christopher Walken movie about lynching Italians. Yeah, Vendetta. There you go. There you go. Vendetta is a 1999 HBO movie starring Christopher Walken about the 1891 lynching of Italian Americans in New Orleans. There you go. There you go. All right. Okay, that's why a lot of Israelites, where they went to, especially here in the UK and America, right? They used to say on the signs, no Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, or blacks, or no Irish, no coloreds, no dogs, no coloreds, no Irish, no Hispanics or whatever, you know. And if you're an Israelite foreigner, but you're melanated anyway, you'll say no colored. So if you're a colored person, they won't let you in. You understand? And they say no Irish, no Irish. Why did they say no Irish? Because they know a lot of Irish are Israelites also. The real Irish are like Eddie Murphy. He's his surname is probably his original surname from the days of being in Ireland during the Dark Ages, before Cromwell the Cracker had banished all took all the Israelites that took them to the West Indies as slaves. All right. So a lot of you Israelites out there that have English or Irish surnames, a lot of you didn't get them from your slave master. A lot of them you have them naturally. Names like James and Thomas and things like that. Those are our names. These crackers didn't talk about that. Didn't have those names. A lot of these Italian or Portuguese surnames, a lot of them are Jake names. Because Jake's had them first. And when the so-called white man came into power, what they did was actually steal your name. Jake. They took your name. They even took your name. And then some of these crackers that are not real Irish or Italians or Portuguese or Hispanics or whatever, right? Some of them took on your names, your culture that you created in different parts of the world. This thing is big, all right? This thing is so huge. Like I said, we are everywhere. And what I touched on was, right, is basically, where are they? Is a little snippet, all right? But it's interesting though, all right? You know, it's very interesting. Let's go here. Liverpool slave ports. Liverpool was the most important European port for the transatlantic slave trade, and was a main slaving port for Britain in the 18th century. Number of enslaved Africa. I hate the term African, man. I remember one more thing. African comes from the term from the Edomite, the cracker, Leo Scipio Africanus. The land of Africa is the land of Ham or Ham in English, all right, which means hot, all right, okay. And within that land of Ham, just like America, you have many nations. But Africa, so-called Africa, the land of Ham, is a continent, and there's many nations in there. All the same. There's not all the same people in there. When they're saying number of enslaved Africans, they're talking about number of enslaved Israelites. Because I didn't see no Somalians come on those slave ships. Okay, there's no record of them. All right, those weak-bodied Somalians or any other nation, they were Israelites. All right, the Southern Kingdom were brought to America as slaves. Right? And also those slave ships came from Portugal and Spain as well. They took so-called black people from those parts of the world as well. So don't get it twisted. It's not just Africa. All right. And then the native Indians, our brothers, were taken to Spain and Europe as slaves. All right. Over 1.5 million Israelites were enslaved on ships that departed from Liverpool between 1700 and 1807. All right. Now they say 1.5 million. Let's just go with that number. All right, a good portion of them, let's just say 75% of them, or say 60% of them are men, right? Obviously, they need manpower, the term manpower, right? Mostly are men. Now, what do you think they'll do in different parts of the world? All right? Having relations with a female is a big stress reliever when you're going through hell. All right? And a lot of those female slave owners, okay, you listen, a lot of Edomite, so-called white women, slave masters, had male concubines that were Jake. All right. So when the cracker, her husband, would leave to check out another plantation or whatever, she would call, Big Buck, Thomas or Paul, whatever, to the bedroom, and he'd get it in. That was going on. And sometimes, a lot of the time, these women got pregnant, and they kept the babies. All right. Sometimes they give the baby to be raised by one of their slave women, or the woman would go away, or the Edomite would just have to deal with it. All right. And that baby probably grew up going through hell, but but that's just the way it was. So this went on for a long time as well. And on the flip side, you had these damn devils graping a lot of Israelite women, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. So there's a lot of Edomites running around as well. And that's the parable between the wheat and the tares, because wheat and tares look alike, but they're not the same. Example, Tia and Tamara, those sister, if you remember that show from the 90s. They look like very attractive, nice tanned, curly haired women, Israelite women, but they're not Israelites. Their father is an Edomite, an Amalekite to be exact. They're heathens. All right. That's an example there. Destination. Most ships went to the Caribbean, with some going to North America. Goods traded. Liverpool ships carried goods like textiles, firearms, alcohol, beads, and cowries, shells to West Africa, and returned with sugar, cotton, coffee, and tobacco. Growth. Liverpool's role in the slave trade grew from a few ships a year in the 1730s to 120 to 130 ships annually in the 2 decades before the trade was abolished in 1807. It was never abolished. It kept going on. Right. Liverpool's growth was driven by a number of factors, including established ties with the American colonies, manufacturing available, capital. These damn devils didn't even wash their backside, man, before they came across the Israelites. These damn crackers. They didn't have to. Man, I could go on about. Oh, man, they pissed me off. See that woman there? That's an Israelite woman. You know, maybe we should. Actually, I'm gonna leave it. Commercials will come.
Dear Michael.
Actually, I'm gonna leave it alone. They might put a blocker on it. But anyway, check it out yourself, right? This is just another example of the children of Israel. Another example of a scattering. All right. War brings destruction, but it also takes men from one place to another, where you know they're away for months on end. And what happens is when they get some time off or whatever, in between whatever they're doing in terms of war tactics, they go out and try and meet the local women. So where the Israelite men went, they planted their seed and left their children, Israelites. And then on the flip side, you've got these damn crackers going to different parts of the world, leaving heathen babies as well. All right. But this is just another example of Jake being everywhere. Okay. And we look like everybody. But remember one thing as well, I've got to add as well. In the kingdom, there is going to be no confusion of who you are as an Israelite. All right. If you're an Israelite, you're a Judite, you're not going to look like a Chinese man. If you're a Judite, right? If you're a Judite, you're not going to look like an East Indian. All right. We're still going to be diverse looking. We're all going to be comely, right? Our women are going to be gorgeous, diverse looking. Ain't going to be like everyone's going to look like, all the men are going to look like Wesley Snipes. And all the women are going to look like, I don't know, let's just say Kelly Rowland or Beyonce. No. It's going to be very diverse looking. All right. Because the Lord's garden has many flowers. It's not just roses. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, Jake can have many concubines too. So yeah, Jake likes them red-headed Edomite women, man. You know, if Jake likes them blonde-haired women, yeah, we're gonna have that. We're gonna have that, man. All right, so we're gonna get, man. We've got a lot to look forward to, man. Obviously, I just touched on the women there, but all the knowledge, the power, you know, the glory, having laws inside you, never placing a foot wrong. But in the kingdom, what I was meant to say was that there's gonna be no confusion. All right. The confusion of faces is here now because it's for the elect to use spiritual discernment pursuant to Romans 8:16. All right. But it's also a stumbling block for the 2/3 to fall into that bullshit of blackity black, or you don't look black, or if somebody, all that nonsense, But anyway, all praise to Yahweh Bashem Eshai Bashem Rakakodash. Slakia if I went off topic here and there. Sometimes, I always say this, but the mind wanders in various directions. Anyway, shalom.